Hey, what do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Dan and I are excited to introduce our Buy Me a Coffee page. We've had a lot of listeners reach out and say, hey there, bub, we really appreciate what you do and want to support the show. Well, here's one way to do that without big corporations taking, 30% of the cut of your generosity. Just head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/BigBlueBanter and chip in if you'd like to support us directly. Every contribution means a lot, and it helps keep the show going strong. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for listening, and have a lovely day.
Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter, New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneier, joined as always by my co-host Nick Filato. Today we're going to do something fun. It's a free agency primer. We're going to work our way through the new StickToTheModel website, which has been advised to check. I've been advised to take a look at it, Nick, by a bunch of people, and finally took a look at it today, and it's pretty damn cool. So what we're going to do is work through first the Giants roster, players that we want to restructure, resign, cut to create cap space. Then we're going to go through free agency, starting with the players on our own roster, work our way through that, deciding if we want to resign them or not. And then after that, we are going to go into other teams' free agents, and then maybe do one round of the draft. I looked at it. I don't think we should do all the rounds of the draft yet. We're not there yet, but we'll do one round. We'll do the first round, and then we'll take a look at our updated depth chart just after the first round.
Yeah, we'll see how much time we have, right? Because I know we're gonna get to the one round, and then the second round is gonna come up, and we're gonna be like, "Yo, dude, this guy's still on the board. We gotta add this."
Yeah,
dude,
maybe we'll consider making a second round pick. That's the only other thing we'll consider doing. All right, let's get into this thing. If you could share my screen here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a working thing. So let me know if you could see it. I'm going to start by clicking that.
Yeah, this is more. It's more.
Oh, no. I've reached my daily uses. Let me just create a quick.
No, I can share mine too.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll remove you. This is just podcasting on the fly at the moment, but there has been giant news though too.
Yeah, we can talk about that while you get this up. So the news that we'll get into on the StickToTheModel is, because he's not currently cut on the StickToTheModel, is the Giants have released Bobby Okereke. This was a move that we had heard was going to happen, and now it's actually happening. It's going to create about $9 million in cap space, a little more than $9 million in cap space. The Giants are fully committed to revamping that linebacker core. And I think, if you think about it, Nick, Bobby Okereke, he had a little bit of a renaissance toward the end of the season when Bolin got in, to some extent, just through making big plays in the pass game, I guess. But he's just not, like, at this point in his career, there was a lot of bad tape from him, and specifically in the run game. Just slow reaction time, not a really good run fit, not a player who's making great run fits. Early in his career, he's making great sideline-to-sideline plays. I don't feel like that was the case in the run game. So I think ultimately Harbaugh looked at the tape and was just like, yeah, he's a leader. Yeah, he's had some good years, specifically 2023. He was phenomenal that year with the Giants, but we need a different voice. We need a different skill set at the linebacker position. So I think it's really a sign of what's to come.
Yeah, same here. And there's already talks going on right now as we speak, and we're monitoring Twitter, and maybe we'll release an episode before this, so disregard everything I'm about to say. But there are talks. Ricky, good old Ricky, came out of the woodwork and said that the Giants are looking to possibly trade for a linebacker. And
he's saying the trade is happening. Ricky's saying the trade has already happened. They're just
going it's already happened, so it might be announced any second at this point.
Yeah, it could be announced any second now. I think he reported that around 11:30. We'll see.
Tremaine Edmunds is the name to watch for the Chicago Bears, and a lot of people are speculating that it could be Kayvon. All of this is unsubstantiated. That would be I would love to add Tremaine Edmunds at a certain cost, at a certain price, but Kayvon Thibodeaux, I feel like we're selling low on a player of Kayvon's talents.
I think the only people who have those opinions, Nick, are you and I and others who have really watched the tape, because I think for us it feels like Kayvon had an injured year last year. Before he got hurt, he was playing good football on tape, and at times his rookie season he was playing amazing football. The season after that, another injury-plagued season, if I'm not mistaken, just feels like he never caught that string of starts, never caught that fire that I think is possible given what we've seen on tape. So it almost feels like we're trading a really big talent who could be a great rotational pass rusher and a help in the run game, just at the bottom of his peak, basically the lowest possible, cost, or the lowest possible ceiling he's reached, I guess, at this point in his career, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's other variables, obviously, too. The money is a big variable. The fact that he's going to be a free agent after this season. So all of that is being considered by the New York Giants right now. But let's get into this stick to the model.
I'll say this, though, on that front.
Right.
He's 25 years old, Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, and so you're trading him at that cost. But also, it's like the money aspect. Yeah, you're creating cap space, but you're giving it right back up by trading for Tremaine Edmunds, because Edmunds has a really big cap hit. So it's really just
no, that's not my point. My point is the Giants want to improve their linebacker position so much that Kayvon's not in the long-term future. So they're fine with trading him right now and making that immediate improvement to the linebacker position this season. Because Kayvon's going to be off the books regardless. And I guess they're not looking to play into the, the whole Ravens compensatory cap formula because they're probably going to be spending in future years that would negate that anyways.
Potentially, they could spend a lot this offseason, as we'll get to a second in our stick to the model, and then it could lead to less spending in the coming off seasons and playing that Ravens comp pick formula starting next offseason, even just.
And Kayvon would be the prime for that too,
right?
Like to that point, right? Like Kayvon, like who else is the name there? Evan Neal, like he's already gone, right? From so it'd be the 2023 draft. You're looking at Tay Banks if the Giants decide to let him walk. He's probably not getting a massive deal. JMS, Jalen Hyatt. I know the NFL is clamoring to add him to their roster. So he would be the guy.
Jalen Hyatt, I feel like, is just going to get cut this year. I don't think
he has
to make it. At this point. What's interesting though about what you said is I think what if they do make this trade, and Ricky is right with his sourcing and info, which he tends to be, it will say a lot about what they think about Tremaine Edmunds and what he can fit in Denard's defense. I will say this though, Nick, we have limited resources in the draft. And I know it's a deep class at this position that I'm about to go over. We have limited resources though in the draft. Now, no third round pick. And I don't think we're going that route in free agency. If we do trade Kayvon Thibodeau, we're really light at the edge position. Like we are putting a lot on Carter. Now it's good because it'll allow Carter to go play that role full time, which I do really want. I'd rather him there.
I would contend, and I know this is a great conversation. I love them when we get into these, by the way, Dan. I think Chauncey Golston's going to play a bigger role.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I do think the Giants are going to look to add like a Jihad Ward type in free, like a bigger, more physical edge rusher who can kick inside and do that. So I think like those body types are going to be more of what the Giants are looking for rather than Kayvon. And Kayvon's not small. Kayvon's 6'5". Kayvon's a big guy, but I think Golston will operate maybe, I don't want to say in base because I think Abdul's going to have a role, but Abdul might still have that Swiss Army knife type of utility to Denard Wilson.
And sometimes with these players, especially like Golston, like he had such an injury plagued year. We don't really know. Like we liked his tape with the Cowboys. We thought we were getting a potential like value upside signing. And then he got hurt and now everybody's kind of done with him. I don't know if that's the case. That needs to be the case. Like I have some hope for him. Same thing goes for Adebo. A lot of people are like done with him. You can't even consider him a potential hit. He was also injured. And that plagued his season. And I really think he's a much, much better fit for this coming Denard Wilson defense. So let's get into it though, Nick. Let's start with our own cap roster. So I'm not able to see it that well.
Can't see it that well. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I've run through this a few times, so I have an idea of what I want to do.
Bobby Okereke is getting cut. That already happened. So
that's the first thing that already happened.
So now we're at 11.6 million. He's going to be
cut to the top here. I just want to go over the names. I can't see him. So who's the first name? Okay.
Brian Burns.
So start with Brian Burns. Let's click on Burns. Let's click. There's two options. You can either restructure or you can extend. I want to click extend for this one.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to cut everybody first, actually, and then we'll get into the extensions.
So, okay, you can do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're cutting Bobby Okereke. He's gone. We're going to cut Devin Singletary. We cool with that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Devin Singletary, James Hudson is going to get cut as well. So we're cutting James Hudson and Devin Singletary and Graham Gano. So those were all the names that I wanted to cut. I'm trying to think if I'm missing somebody.
I have others I want to cut, so we can go into those and we can debate if they should be cut. The first is Jamie Gillen. Although the contract is structured in a weird way where, unfortunately, I don't know who did this, Gettleman or Shane. I'm sure it was Shane. We're only going to create 1 million of cap space and we're going to get 2 million of dead cap space. I just think Jamie Gillen's one of the worst punters in the NFL. And there's just no possible explanation to me for rostering him any further. I don't like him. I hate watching him punt. We never get things down inside the 5. It's not like he has a big leg either, so I don't really know what he offers. At some point, I guess they saw something in him. They gave him this extension. I just want to cut him outright, save the $1 million. I'll go to either to the 6th, 7th round of the draft, or I'll just find something on the scrap heap at punter, and I think it'll be better than Gillen as long as it's just as cheap, and it will be.
I don't think the Giants will do this per se, but we're going to do this here on the Big Blue Banter podcast. So we will cut.
I think what makes you think they won't? I'm just curious about that.
Really just the cap thing.
I had read they're considering, I think Paul Schwartz reported they're going to try to get.
Well, we're going to cut them then. We're going to cut them. Yeah, no, it's more just the cap thing. But I mean, I don't think the Giants are too afraid of the dead cap at this point with Daniel coming off the books and everything. So it's not like they're in dire straits when it comes to dead cap money. So that's a good point right there.
And it's not like there's no point to really roster him. You can save the $1 million. I know it's basically like a $3 million decision because you have to pay the $2 million dead, but to me, it's worth it. And then I made a few others. I made at least one other that I can remember. I know who it is. I'm just gonna see if there's any others that I forgot. We got rid of Singletary. We got rid of the 2 special teams guys. So for me, this is the big one where we can go into. Remember, this is just doing what we would want to do, Nick, not what we think the Giants would do. This is like our ideal offseason. So the other one for me was Jon Runyan. So I believe there's a lot of talent at the interior offensive line on the free agent market. I looked through it earlier when I went through this model on my own. I don't know if Runyan's a good fit for the coming scheme. I don't personally feel like they really need him. The continuity thing helps, but there's a possibility that we have a new center, maybe not. And then in addition to that, I just feel like there's upside to exploring other players in the market. And when you cut Runyan, I believe it's saving $9 million in cap space.
Yeah, 8.9 million.
That's a lot of cap space for a player like Runyan. So I don't know if you want to keep him, and we can debate that. But for me, Runyan would be a cut.
This is where it gets interesting because if you're looking at bringing in like a Tyler Linderbaum and then maybe like another offensive lineman, like does that almost entice you more to release a Jon Runyan? Which I know Tyler Linderbaum's obviously a center, but it gives you more maybe flexibility to move JMS to one because you already have a hole at right guard, right? It did not cross my mind to cut Jon Runyan. I like where your head's at, though, and I do tend to agree. I don't think this guy is a perfect fit. I think you can get by with him. It's not like he's going to be inept. I think he's an average guard in the National Football League who isn't necessarily power oriented, but he can be fundamentally sound enough and take the right angles and have the footwork and then use some hands to get by in this system. And I think the Giants would maybe just allow him to ride out this last year, but it's not the craziest thing in the world. It would be a little bit bold, but I think your logic is straight. I'm fine with keeping him here, but if you want to go in this direction, it does. You know what? Let's go in this direction just because it gives us more options in free agency to add more to the offensive line to build it in the image of Greg Roman. Does that make sense?
It does. For me, it's a little bit beyond that, though, Nick. Honestly, for me with Runyan, it's like I feel like everything you said is correct. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of what I liked about him was pass protection. And a lot of what I liked about him in pass protection was just communication. It wasn't like I felt like the tape was good when he's in one-on-one blocks against difficult defensive linemen to block. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's a great pass protector. He just was smart and played okay. And the whole communication was good across the line. We're going to lose that anyway by going from Carmen Brasillo to an offensive line coach. Like we have to revamp that anyway.
And this is where it gets so interesting to me too, man. Like Joe Shane signed Jon Runyan. Joe Shane made a lot of these decisions. There's a lot of pride that's going to have to be swallowed here by Joe Shane to make some of these choices if it is for the betterment of the New York Giants. So we're going to go in that direction, and we are going to free up another $9 million right here and get the Giants into a healthy $36.5 million cap space right at this moment.
Now, is there anyone else to potentially cut? I couldn't see. I think those were all the guys I cut on my runs.
Yeah, no, there's no one that really jumps out to me at the moment.
I didn't think there were. So then let's get into the restructuring and extending conversation. So we have two options when it comes to restructuring and extending. You can either extend a player and add years to the deal, which will create cap space, or restructure him and add void years to the deal, something the Giants have never done to this point in their career. They have $0 invested in void years. Now, just give you an idea, teams like the Eagles and now the Cowboys I saw today did a bunch of restructuring, have like millions. Like I think the Eagles are like up to like 100 million in void years. Now here's how the void years work. Eventually down the line, it might hurt your cap situation. That's what we're told, right? It seems like it's not happening really to me. Like even the Saints, the most extreme example of this, right, Nick? they're like back, and they're like had one bad offseason last year where they couldn't do anything. Who cares? They bottomed out. They got Tyler Shuck. They're hopefully building around Shuck. And they still won like a decent amount of games anyway toward the end of the season. Like they won as much as the Giants won. And they're going to be like in a clean cap spot within a year or 2 years at this point and restarting everything. So I just don't buy it when it comes to the void years being a bad thing, or I think it's a real cheat code. And the NFL has discussed, by the way, Nick, getting rid of allowing void years. If the NFL is even discussing that, it tells me that they believe some teams are complaining about it being a cheat code and being something that like is unfair to the rest of the teams, because really what it means is the owner is willing to put up money now instead of in the future and put up more money now than he has to. And the Giants owners have not necessarily done that, but maybe that was a Kevin Abrams thing, right? Maybe that was a Joe Shane thing. Maybe that was them telling them, because Mara always says, Nick, like I defer to the GMs. And even though, the narrative says otherwise, and I do believe that the ownership does defer and let the GMs, and now it's going to be Dawn Aponte and John Harbaugh and Joe Shane, a combination of those three making these decisions. And I think it's time. I don't think it's the money's an issue. I mean, look, they paid $20 million a year or more for John Harbaugh to be head coach. They allowed him a million coaches. Greg Roman got to come in for a big salary. I just heard they hired like 5 assistants that are like under the quality control. And one of them was Marty Morningwig's son, which I'm actually intrigued by him coming in, just maybe as a young mind. And so I don't think money is an issue for John Mara. And the ownership. I really do not believe that, especially after the Koch buying into the program, buying into the franchise, man. So I think they're going to be willing to do these void years. I think they're going to be willing to finally pay up and be the team that creates, because guess what? You don't have Jackson Dart on a rookie contract forever. You don't have that's right. You don't have Abdul Carter on a rookie contract forever. You don't have Malik Neighbors on a rookie contract forever. Strike while the iron is hot. There's only so many years of this window of Dart on the rookie deal. And that time's now, man. So the question becomes, who of these players do you want to extend and who of these players do you want to restructure?
I think you restructure possibly both Brian Burns and Andrew Thomas. Now, another reason why I think the restructure is possibly the course of action the Giants might go is, yes, you have Jackson Dart on a rookie contract, but you also brought in a 62-year-old coach. Like this is going to be an immediate turnaround. This isn't a slower turnaround. Oh, we're waiting, like it was with Brian Dable and Joe Shane, where it was like, let's see what we have. Dan, you get enough coffee there? Let's see what we have. And yeah, no, this is going to be like, we're going to be a playoff contending team next year. Let's get our cap. Let's get our roster, more importantly, aligned with that as our vision. And Brian Burns and Andrew Thomas are more than likely in the long term. I don't know. You would think they would be in the long term, long-term vision of what the New York Giants want to do, especially Andrew Thomas, possibly Dexter Lawrence. So where are you at with this? Guys, quick story. Last year, I realized I was doing that classic thing where you only go to the doctor if something is actively on fire. And honestly, no more emergencies. It's 2026. We're done waiting until night sweats turn into all-day sweats. Walking it off for 6 months doesn't work, or your fingers go numb while texting, I'm fine, if something feels off. It's time to get it checked out. And look, more than the gym matters, working out is great, but real health also means consistent annual checkups, getting weird stuff looked at, and taking care of your mental health. That's where ZocDoc comes in. Remember, that doctor's appointment you were supposed to make, the dentist cleaning, the overdue annual checkup, or the dermatologist visit you keep putting off, ZocDoc makes it stupidly easy. It's a free app and website where you can find in-network doctors, compare reviews, see real availability, and book instantly, sometimes even same day. I use this, and you should too. Stop putting off these doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/banter to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/banter. Zulu, Oscar, Charlie, Delta, Oscar, Charlie.com/banter. Dan and I are excited to talk about the Big Blue Banter group chat we've got going on with Chat BCC, the group chat platform where you can interact with fans and hosts of your favorite podcasts. We've been using Chat BCC to talk to our listeners about the hottest topics in football and just to kind of shoot the breeze about whatever's on our mind. Every day, one of us is in that chat giving our thoughts and hearing from listeners on their takes on what's going on in football, what's going on with the New York Giants. It's a lot of fun. If you want to come crash our group chat, it's as easy as sending a text. Head to BigBlueBanter.chat in any URL, enter your number, and start chatting with us and the Big Blue Banter faithful. I 100% advocate for Omaha Steaks because Omaha Steaks actually sent me multiple boxes of their delicious product. They took care of me. And look, in this industry, some advertisers don't do that. They'll ask for a personal endorsement that is completely fictitious. I might as well talk to you about Bigfoot or quality New York Giants football because they don't exist. But Omaha Steaks, they take care of their people. They sent me real steaks, perfectly aged for tenderness, hand cut by master butchers, plus chicken and other succulent sustenance. Omaha Steaks, if you're listening, I support you. And the listeners of the Big Blue Banter podcast should too. And you can save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code BANTER at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, code BANTER. Thanks again. I wear underwear every day and I ensure that they're clean, but it's been a while since I switched it up, you know? It was always the same cycle. Order a pack, hope they fit, deal with the riding up, the stretching out, or just being comfortable by the end of the day. So when I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was genuinely excited. I got friends who wear Skims for years and constantly talk about how comfortable everything is. So I figured if they nailed it for women, they were definitely going to come through for men too. I've tried a few styles, but my favorite has to be the Skims Cotton 5-inch boxer brief. The fit is unreal. They hit perfectly at the thigh and actually stay there. No riding up, no bagging out, no adjusting throughout the day. The fabric is soft, breathable, and somehow feels supportive without being too restrictive on your little friends down there. I can wear them all day, working, traveling, working out, and they still feel just as good at night as they do in the morning. What surprised me most is how confident and comfortable they make me feel. Once you find underwear that truly fits, you realize how much the wrong pair has been holding you back. At this point, I don't really see myself going back to anything else. Skims just does it better. Shop Skims Men at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts this season, the Skims holiday shop is now open at skims.com. Endurance athletes don't really talk about this, but heavy training can quietly wreck sexual performance. Long cardio sessions, high cortisol, bad sleep, under recovery, all of that hits the same systems that control hormones and blood flow. And when circulation drops, performance drops everywhere, including down there, bub. Most guys reach for stimulants or prescriptions, but that's a blunt downstream fix. That's where Joy Mode comes in. Nitric oxide is the master switch for blood flow, endurance, and long-term vascular health. Joy Mode supports nitric oxide production with real doses of citrulline and arginine nitrate, not token amounts, so your body improves circulation naturally. And it works! 83% of men noticed a boost in sexual performance and 73% felt positive effects even without prior ED issues. You tear one open, mix it with water like an electrolyte packet, and you're good. Take it 45 minutes to a few hours before you do the deed, or use it daily to raise your baseline, just like training adaptations. If you want to support sexual performance the same way you support training and recovery, go to tryjoymode.com/banter or use code BANTER for 20% off at checkout. Joy Mode, the pre-workout for blood flow.
I think you nailed it, Nick, and I think that's ultimately where they're at. I don't think John Harbaugh is here to restart from scratch. I think he believes they can win now. There's no real reason to believe they can't. They have to fix some things. Their run defense, for starters. Their offensive line has to either remain intact or they have to improve it. And they probably need a little help at the skill positions in addition to revamping their linebackers. Outside of that, yeah, they can use corners, and we'll see what we can do there. But they can win. You can win in the NFL even with holes, man. Like, the Patriots made it to the Super Bowl. You look across that roster, Nick. That roster had holes, a lot of freaking holes, and they made it to the Super Bowl anyway. You go 2 years ago, the Washington Commanders roster had a lot of freaking holes, and they made it to the NFC Championship game. The game is not about minor fixing every single hole. Every single hole has to be fixed or we have no chance. No, the game is about winning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball and a quarterback who plays damn good football for the most part. I mean, the Giants were like 11th in EPA last year, 13th in EPA on offense with no receivers. And everyone's like, if they don't get receivers, there's no chance to win. I don't know about that. Like, they were the best offense they've been since 2015, literally. In 10 years, the best offense they've been with Neighbors injured in week 3 and no receivers behind him. So, I mean, that's you have to put all these things into context. And part of the reason was the offensive line played really well. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think for me, the question is some of these players. So Burns, to me, a player without a major injury history, younger player, and a great leader in the locker room. I would actually look to extend him instead of the problem is, I guess Burns is a good one to restructure because the market is so high at edge, and maybe that's the route to go. You restructure
and tackle.
I mean, all these markets are high.
Yeah.
But I know the problem is here. If you're the Giants, here's what has to happen. Dexter Lawrence is pissed. We've heard that. So he has to get the new deal. So you have to extend him instead of restructure. But if you extend him and try to restructure Thomas and Burns, does that piss them off? That's the question that I ask you.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that could happen, and that's why this gets a little bit tricky, and I can understand it from their perspective as well. That's why I'm like looking at who has the most, I guess, time left on their deal to where they can still be happy with the fact that they have that deal. Like with Burns, his deal runs out at 30, I think.
Yeah.
So he's still young enough to capitalize on another lucrative deal. Same with Andrew Thomas. Dex is a little bit old. I mean, Dex is like 28, so I don't want to say he's a little bit older, but he has already been vocal about, the other defensive tackles getting paid a lot of money and all this kind of stuff. But he's also coming off of a down year. He doesn't have as much leverage as maybe one would think, but I mean, I have to imagine he's in the long-term plans for the New York Giants too. So this is where this whole conversation on restructure or extend really comes about. Definitely not.
I think you go for restructure with Burns. So start with restructure on Burns, and then I think it allows you to add a void year. So what are those options if you want to read them out?
Yeah. So standard would just be a $13.5 million addition. If you add a void year, you add an extra. Well, it would be 15.2, and then 2 void years is 16.2.
I think that's what you save in cap space.
Yes, to your cap savings.
So I think we can go 2 void years.
All right, let's do it. Yeah. We're restructuring 2 void years for Brian Burns.
Now Thomas is an interesting one, has obviously an extensive injury history, but I think is a little bit overstated by Giants fans. Had an unlucky injury chasing down an extra point, a blocked extra point 1 year. Obviously ended the season injured on this one. It's been some lower half stuff. Do we want to maybe do 1 void year there?
I mean, it only gives you an extra 0.7 million, but yeah, we could.
It gives you an extra 7 million versus what are the other
0.7 million?
0.7 million. That's no good.
The standard spread over the remaining 4 years, if you restructure, if you just spread it out through the remaining 4 years, is 10 million is what you're going to save. Now, if you add a void year to that, it's 10.7 million.
The 0.7. I guess don't add the void year then. We don't need 0.7 in cap space.
And we're going to piss off Brian Burns and Andrew Thomas here, guys. No. All right, we're going to do it, though. Just standard. And then with Dex, I'll say
this. Offensive linemen play well late into their career. I'm almost willing to – would you be willing to reconsider that and maybe extend?
Can I go back?
I think so. If you click X, click that X next to that. See if that allows you to –
I see a cut. I don't see an X.
Just says cut. Okay. Maybe it's too late.
He's restructured. Let's keep going.
Dexter Lawrence. Got to get to that one. Extend that one.
Dexter Lawrence, we are going to extend for sure. So another 3 years is what we're thinking of. What? He has 2 years left on his contract. He has 2 years left on his contract. So you give him 3, I'd give him 5 years, 28. So he'd be 33 at that point.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Now, how much APY are we looking at?
What does it say?
It's 21.5 million right now.
I think that's about fair.
I think so as well. We're going to
scroll down before you hit accept. Scroll down. I think you can have the option of backloading the contract. I don't know if that
says extend plus restructure. If I click this, I don't know if
that's probably
I can backload right here. So if I
backload the contract a little bit.
Yep, we're going to backload it a little bit, and that's going to give the Giants a savings of 18. Well, no, the cap hit will be 18.1. It saves 7.9 million though on the cap right now.
Okay, let's click that.
All right.
Sure. All right, now go back to the main page. All right, so now here comes the other questions. The 2 to debate about.
By the way, just for those who are keeping track, after all the cuts that Dan and I made, which is Devin Singletary, James Hudson, Jamie Gillen, we did John Runyon more so as a thought experiment, but
no, I think that they're going to do it, and I think they should.
And then there's Graham Gano and one more I'm forgetting that we released, but he's someone that
Singletary.
No, I think I said him, but we released all the guys the Giants are more than likely going to cut, including Okereke, who has just been released. We restructured Brian Burns, we restructured Andrew Thomas, and we extended Dexter Lawrence.
Yes.
And now we're at $72.7 million in cap space.
And now the question becomes, do you want to mess with and restructure the Adebo and Holland deals. There's no other real options besides Slayton, which you would never do because then you have to commit to him further. I think this is an interesting debate. I think for both players, my lean, and again, remember, this is what we want to do, Nick, not what we think the Giants will do. My lean on both players is no, don't touch those contracts. I can be more open to touching the Adebo contract than the Holland contract. What are your thoughts on that?
So I was actually thinking about extending Adebo. And if we do that, the Giants can save $6.8 million if you give him an extra. So there's 2 years left in the deal. It's just a 3-year deal. I don't want to give him another $4 million, but he is only 26 years old. I think he's a good cornerback who is he didn't have his best season. I know the injuries are a thing. One of them was a broken leg, though. I don't want to say it's a freak thing, but it kind of is. It's not like a joint issue or something that's wrong with like his tendons or his ligaments. But if we extend him for another 3 years, that saves $8.3 million on the cap. We're sitting kind of pretty right now at $72.7 million. So it's like, is it even necessary for us to do that?
And you go through the free agency, and I've done this now 3 times today, and you kind of learn like you don't need as much cap space as you maybe were thinking, and then you don't have the chance to go back and get rid of those decisions, unfortunately, on this app. But obviously, we can go back on this podcast and be like, actually, we wouldn't. So if we want to maybe do it now and then say we wouldn't, that's fine. I think my lean, like the question is this, like, do we want to, do we consider this a buy low situation? Do we consider Adebo to be such a good fit in Wilson's system that he's going to have such a phenomenal year that it's going to be great that we decided to extend him before he had that phenomenal year? Or is he not the player that he was paid to be? That's the question I have. And I actually lean more toward the latter, unfortunately.
I can talk myself into both. I can talk myself into both. I think the Giants, I don't want to say they overpaid because this is what the market is at this point.
It's just the market, right?
This is what the market is. And I think he is a starting cornerback in the National Football League. You don't ideally want him to be your cornerback one. He doesn't have that, shut down cornerback one type of, a skill set, but he's a good starting cornerback, I think. Better as a 2. Now, is that really what you want to lean into and possibly reward with another contract?
Right.
He could really have a good year this year, and then you're like, yo, we got him at this deal. The cornerback market's going up and up. I think we maybe got a steal here because he's only 26 years old. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But I'm not like sold that he's even worth the money that they're already giving him because he didn't prove it. I do think he is going to. I don't think he's a bad zone corner, and I think he does have good press man skills, traits, right? Like the fluidity, all the stuff that we talked about through the years. But I'm also fine with leaving it the way it is because we did just create a lot of cap space. We just created
a lot, which helps to not. But yeah, and the way we did it was through players Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns. I feel very confident those are like difference-making all-pro players that I'm willing to, add void years or extend like we did. And that's essentially saying like we need them to be productive years down the line. Otherwise, we have dead cap assigned to them when we want to cut them. I'm not sold on Adebo being that same level player. If I needed the cap space more, I'd be more open to it. I don't feel like we're going to need the cap space here with Adebo. I would kind of just rather keep that contract as is. So next year, if he does have a bad year this year, we can just cut him and get out of that and use that cap space to sign another corner, which I think is how you play the corner market. But if we do extend him now or restructure him, we're stuck with him for years. And we have to hope that he's eventually like playing at minimum a cornerback 2, but like more toward that cornerback 2-1 range. And I'm just not sold yet on that.
Neither am I. And I think we just made our decision. So
and Holland, the same thing for you. I mean, the Holland deal, it's like,
I'm not touching Holland shit.
Holland deal, it's like Joe Shane thought, oh my God, we got a steal. I can't believe he's still on the market. It's like, yeah, he's sitting there for 3 days in free agency with no one paying him the kind of money you're offering him, probably for a reason. I still have some faith in Holland. Obviously, he was a better player early in his career with the Dolphins, but like I am so fine with just leaving this as is. And
if I were to make any moves, it would be Adebo. Like I'm not touching Holland, and then I don't really know anybody else who I want to touch.
We would never touch.
No.
Yeah,
absolutely not. So yeah, let's we're gonna go next. We're gonna go to the trade. Now do we want to trade Kayvon right here?
Skip all this.
We're gonna skip this.
Yeah, because this is stupid. I mean, it's not stupid, but it's like, I mean, we could potentially, I guess, trade Kayvon for Edmonds here. I guess.
I mean, I already skipped it, but
yeah, if we want, you can go back. You can click it if you want. I guess if you wanted, let's explore one thing, Kayvon, and let's see what they could offer us.
Well, we need to confirm these tenders, these chicken tenders right here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'll be able to.
Okay.
Do we want to pick up any of these guys?
I
Bryce
looked through
Ford,
them
Wheaton,
earlier. I was
Timon,
pretty much
Fox.
no on Fox
Yeah.
is like the only one I considered, but I was okay with none.
I mean, these are first. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna skip all these. Boop, and then we'll
Let's
go back to
to trade.
trades.
Just see if you can. Is there even a way to offer anything? Because like
I can build my own. Yes.
yeah,
A lot of we were getting trades for tight ends. I'm gonna add the player, add player, and we're gonna add Mr. Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon, I'm a fan of you, Kayvon. It's gonna suck to see you go. And then we will trade with the Bears. And I mean, we could do the Tremaine Edmonds thing, even
well,
though
let's see what they will offer
yet.
from a draft pick standpoint. Because to me, if the deal is Thibodeau for Edmonds only, I don't really love it. I want to see if they will give a pick. So let's see if they can get like a 4th round pick in here.
That's exactly. Well, I'm going to go for 129. It doesn't look like they're going to do this trade, but we can offer the trade. It's significant imbalance. Jeez, man, we really do.
No, I want to take out the pick and see if they even were willing to do that.
I don't think they were going to, man.
Okay, if that's the case, then we just have to go past this because we're not giving up anything more, obviously.
No, obviously not. Yeah, they have Tremaine Edmonds ranked higher than Kayvon.
Okay.
Yeah, it says it's an unbalance.
That's fine. We'll move past this and go to free agency.
We are going to free agents. All right, here we are. So
first it starts with our own players.
Good. Now, Wan'Dale, love you, Wan'Dale Robinson. You're not going to be a New York Giant any longer, though. So, and that's not just what's going to happen. It's also what you and I think, both agree with at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I think ultimately Wan'Dale's market value is going to be really high because this is the reality of the situation with receiver and free agency. Very good player on tape, better than people realize, caught everything that was really in his radius. The problem being his radius isn't big. The problem being that was a specific role for Brian Dable's offense. It's a new offense. And, in the past, we've seen Matt Nagy have a power slot versus a Wan'Dale type slot. And look, if I'm going to pay $18 million anytime for a receiver, Nick, I pretty much want a boundary guy or an elite slot. And I don't think he's either of those two things. So unfortunately, we're letting one of our own walk here, which is never the best thing to do as a franchise. But at wide receiver, I don't mind it as much because the market is just so insane.
Yeah. So here we go. It has Flot listed next. I want to talk about Illuminor first, though. Okay. Jermaine Illuminor, his market is set between 9.4 and 24.8. I'm thinking it comes probably around 20-ish, right? Like after.
So here's where I was at with it. The Titus Howard was around 20 or 21, I believe.
It was.
I'm taking a look now. I think it was 21 AAV. I just want to double check that just to make sure.
It was 21.
21 AAV. Now he's 28. Illuminor is going to be 31. I think we can get 18 if we want. I think that's going to be the fair range for.
Okay, let's. All right, I'm going to look to resign.
Before you do this, though, the question needs to be asked because I got to free agency and I did see it passed along by one beat writer. So it just was in my ear after that. There is one other option. I think we both agree Illuminor has to be major consideration for the Giants to re-sign. But there is one other option in free agency. He has not been franchise tagged yet. So as far as I know, he's definitely not been extended. He's going to hit free agency unless I'm mistaken otherwise. And that player is Braden Smith. He will get a very similar contract to Jermaine Illuminor, possibly less, doubtful, probably around the same. He's 30 years old, so he's not much different in age than Jermaine Illuminor. It's interesting, Nick, because I'm trying to look right now. So it says Indianapolis Colts right tackle Braden Smith in the final year of his contract. They had a 2025 restructure to avoid a cap hit. And he's going to be how old? Let's see. His last contract was a 4-year, $72.4 million.
He's 29 right now. So
the Colts. Yeah. So he's actually even younger than Jermaine.
He'll be 30 soon. He'll be 30 at the end of the month.
I'm not going to say that I watched Braden Smith tape because I haven't. But I know he's a pretty damn good player. I'm curious where you're at with this.
So I'm in the same boat. I haven't grinded through Braden Smith tape. I've always respected him. And I've always heard good things from my friends who cover the Colts about Braden Smith being just like a linchpin at right tackle for them, who's a solid run blocker and a better, I don't know if he's a better pass. He's a good pass blocker too. He's a better overall player from what I've collected from other people's opinions and other people's film study of what Jermaine Illuminor is. I think he's going to cost more than Jermaine Illuminor is my thing. So yeah,
I don't think by any negligible amount though.
Yeah. So you think it will be like comparable,
pretty similar.
Okay. I mean,
yeah.
Again, like I would like to have the film to really rely on.
I know.
I don't want to speak out my ass here, but I mean, I've heard good things about Braden Smith, and it does seem like consensus would contend or agree that he's probably, at least, if not one, the second best tackle on the market.
Right. It's interesting
Right
because
tackle. Now the thing is, you don't get the positional versatility if you sign Braden Smith, because he is only a right tackle. Whereas Jermaine,
right.
you get that. And with Jermaine, he's a good locker room guy. He's doesn't miss practice at all. He's like one of those dudes who plays through injuries. I don't know if Braden's that. I haven't followed his career like that. So you're probably going to get better play, but you're going to lose a little bit of versatility if you decide to go with Braden Smith over Jermaine Illuminor.
So Braden allowed just 1 sack last year. That was 8th fewest at the tackle position. I don't think Illuminor allowed many either, though. He allowed 6 hits. So 1 sack, 6 hits. I can't get anything else because I no longer have PFF, or at least not really access to it unless
I got a bunch. I got a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
Just curious what those
so
guys
4 sacks for Jermaine Illuminor, 19 pressures for what it's worth, 26
Okay.
pressures for Smith, 1 sack, as you said. Hurry's Braden Smith had more. Both of them are penalized a lot. Like Jermaine Illuminor, a lot of them were false start penalties, to be fair, for Jermaine Illuminor. But Jermaine Illuminor had 24 penalties in his time with the Giants.
Just last year, or just
no,
overall?
2 years. 2 years.
Okay.
And then Braden Smith had 18 in the last 2 years. So they're both pretty heavily penalized. Again, a lot with Illuminor, though, was just false starts and some holds. I like the idea of it. I like the changing
Where's
up.
Braden at run blocking if you have PFF?
Oh, if you're talking about the grades, last year was not great
grade?
according to Pro Football Focus. It was a 58, but every other year was above a 70. And
For
he's
Braden.
had and he's had 90s, 86s, 78, 86. So generally speaking, his run blocking has been pretty damn good. And then with Jermaine, it was 55 last year, 56 a year prior, 71 and 75 with Carmen Brasillo in Las Vegas. And then before that, it's all like 50s and 60s. And we've watched enough tape of Jermaine Illuminor to know, like, he's not a great run blocker. He's not a bad run blocker.
Yeah.
He's not a great run blocker,
Right.
So I do think you're getting a significant upgrade based on this Pro Football Focus. But I mean, those are pretty consistent. That's like, 7 or 8 years of consistent positive grades for Braden Smith in a system that is run oriented and does a good job coaching him up for sure. So I like the fact that we're having this dialectic to find out exactly what we want to do.
Right.
If we allow him to walk, though, here right now, then it's going to take a little bit for us to get to Braden Smith, and it might cost more, because right now we can offer Jermaine Illuminor $13.6 million a year and see if he accepts.
No, I don't.
2-year deal.
That's the one thing I want to do with our stick to the model. I want to try to make it as realistic as possible. I don't think they're realistic when it comes to Jermaine Illuminor. So we could cheat, in my opinion, and sign him for this price, and they'll probably accept it. But I think we should go to the number that seems fair. And in this case, I would say 18. Yeah, I would say 18 seems fair. Now, the question is, before we offer that, so it just comes down to that decision, basically. And I think I'm typically with you. Maybe we lose a little bit in run blocking by going Jermaine over Braden Smith type. But I think part of it is just rewarding Jermaine for what he's done here. And, bringing back somebody and telling the locker room, look, if you play well and you play out of your shoes and you could significantly out produce your contract, we're a franchise that is willing to bring you back. And you don't want to completely just have, 4 new starters or 3 new starters on your offensive line in any year. That's a risky proposition for anyone. Continuity is very important. So it just adds that element of it as well. So that being the tiebreaker for me, I would opt for Jermaine.
I would opt for Jermaine as well. Not just for that. I do love all of those reasons you just listed, but it's also dude, this gives the Giants an option. If you want to trade down in the draft and then the defensive players you want are gone, but then if you want one of those tackles who will be available, you can just slide Jermaine Illuminor inside. Or if worse comes to worse, Andrew Thomas gets hurt, you have a reliable enough left tackle on your roster in Jermaine Illuminor. You don't got to trust Marcus Bowe to kick over there. So I like those elements of it when it comes to Jermaine. So I'm going to make him the offer for, let's say 16.
Okay, we can cheat a little. Let's go 17.
17, okay.
Maybe we get lucky.
17, 2 years. 2 years, 17, so he'll be 34.
2's fine. 3 years, 2 or 3. I'm fine with either one.
All right. Confirm signing.
Yeah,
offer accepted.
They were off on where he's at. So, okay.
Cordell
now
Flott.
The question, the big question is Flott. So the 2 schools of thought on Flott are, the first one is, and we reported this on yesterday's episode, Nick, but we've heard from Paul Schwartz that the expectation is Flott's market is going to be hot, heavy. People want Cordell Flott. Ben Solak also mentioned that from what he heard at the combine, and that's just being there and hearing GMs talk. And 2, according to Paul Schwartz, The Giants are interested in re-signing him despite the heavy market. So they see value in him. The two schools of thought are, one, on Flott. He played his best football last year. That's only the best he's played at this point to his career. He's only 25 years old, I believe. He was drafted so young, and he could have room for even more growth than that. Like, there could be even more better football ahead of him. I thought he looked great from a click and close standpoint last year. Route recognition. Talk about that interception on Thursday Night Football to seal the Eagles win, among others. I thought he looked great in run recognition, and I thought he was great in run defense. Yeah, he's not the biggest guy, but he's willing to stick his head in there and stick his neck in there, I should say, and just make a play in the run game. I don't think that's something he's unwilling to do. Now, the other side of it is, does he fit the scheme, right? We've talked a lot about that. This is going to be more of a press man scheme. I will say this, though, Nick, having watched like enough Denard Wilson when we went over in your film review and just going back myself, it does seem to be like there is one from a lot of the plays I watched. There's one quarter pressed up against the in press man. The other does play off at times, like on the other side of the ball. So it could be a situation where like they're willing to put Banks or
against
or
3x1 sets. They usually align the lone receiver side up press. That could be Banks or Debo, and then they usually align off on the other and do some sort of unique coverage to handle the lopsided offensive formation.
And how many times do we see a 3x1 in the NFL? A lot. Like that's what a lot of teams are doing at this point. So it's not like I don't buy as much into like he's just not a fit for the system as people think on Flott. So for me, I start with I want to kind of re-sign Flott. I want to get in on this. I want to, if there's more room to grow, I want to be the team that hits on Flott because he's not fully developed in my mind.
So I'm thinking Flott might only want like a 3-year deal, right? Because he's going to be like, he's like 24, just turned 25 or something. So he'll be 28 when that contract ends. He'll be looking to get another big deal.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be $9 million like Spotrac says. I think we're looking at like 14, 3 years, 14. What about you?
I think we can just do the 12 here. I don't think it's going to be. Then again, you're right. Like maybe there is.
Yeah. Let's split the diff.
Yeah, there might be more of a market. It's so tough to see.
This is 8% above the market value for Cordell Flott, and everybody's reporting it's going to be above the market value.
Right. Good.
And this is already above what other other entities who tend to judge this said. So I think this is fair. Yeah.
Okay.
3 years, 13. I'm fine with that. Flott is coming back. Now the Giants right now are at 42.7 million after these re-signings. And what about Russell Wilson? You think? No, I'm just joking. I don't know if we're bringing anybody else. Like I want to bring
Bellinger's the interesting one.
I want to bring Bellinger back, and Gunnar Olszewski is another one that I want.
Oh, I want Gunnar back too.
Other than that, and then Micah obviously. So we got to talk about all. So let's start with Daniel. If I hit resign, I think you're talking about like a 1 year, like this is 5.3 million. I think that seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. I think we're talking about like a 2 year, like 3 million a year, 4 million a year, something like that. Like, I don't think like people are going to be clamoring to sign Bellinger.
Yeah.
And he'll have a market for sure, but like, I don't think you have to overspend.
I think we've watched the tape, so we like him a lot, but I don't know if and NFL, GMs are watching tape, but are they going to be grinding tape on Bellinger? Probably. There's somebody in their organization doing it. But I don't know if the market is going to dictate having to give that kind of money. Like that seems like a lot to me. The question though is with Bellinger, like I've worked my way through this sim a few times. There are some interesting tight ends, and one that I really like from a value standpoint that's going to come cheap as we go to the free agent side of this. So if you sign Bellinger, you probably don't want to sign that other player because they also have Vidone, who is going to be coming back. So that's two tight ends.
This is what we're thinking of doing. That's
what we want to do, right?
Yeah. So like I agree. Like personally, I don't think the Giants are re-signing Daniel Bellinger. Like I think Daniel Bellinger is going to probably hit free agency, and the Giants are probably going to go out and sign like Charlie Kolar or something, right? Like
there's somebody else in there that I really like.
Okay, sweet. Like a David Njoku, that's going to be like even more. I know his name is floated out there. Not
going to be that much according to this thing, and I think that might be right. He's 30 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy to think, dude. Because like I think of Evan Ingram, and I'm like, Ingram's so cooked, and then it's like David Njoku. Wow, man, and they are different, obviously. And Njoku, but that's the same draft. I remember that draft well.
Njoku is just such a good value play this year free agent. He just got screwed by like having Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and Fannin was awesome, and then they phased him out of the offense, but for no good reason, really. Like he can block, he's got a frame, and he's a better athlete than people realize.
Dude, he is a freak athlete, and he's a Jersey guy too. So yeah,
that's another factor. So let's move on from Bellinger with the hopes of luring David Njoku back home.
All right, so Gunnar Olszewski, I'm going to re-sign to like a 1 year, $1.5 million, $1.6 million contract
at most,
something like that. Yeah.
That's fine.
This is just a special teamer. He's going to come back.
Well, I think he can play the slot too, to be honest, when we need it.
Offer rejected.
All right,
he wants 1.7. All right, Gunner. All right. I would love to bring Dane back, but I don't think that's going to happen.
He's going to greener pastures.
Yes, and Micah. Yes,
Micah 1 year prove it deal, not 5.2 they want for him.
I think that's no. I'm thinking like 3.5, something like that.
3.5, and if he doesn't accept that, we have other options at linebacker.
Yeah, he's rejected, so walk away.
I'm moving on from Micah. I've seen the linebacker market. There's prospects. There's players I like in free agency.
All right, are we ready to sign Chris Mannertz to $10 million a year? No. Big Chris Mannertz guy.
All bring him back if you want cheap.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm going to just. He might deny it though. 1.1 million. I'll do 1 year, 1 million. How about that? Make offer. See, my see, even through the computer, my guy Chris Manhertz understands. He's like, 100 with 100K, right? I'll get
we can afford to do
that. Yeah, I love Chris Manners. Nah, but dude. So all these other guys, I gotta get rid of them, or can I just
You can just leave them for now. Like Greg Van Roten's obviously an option. Then we can re-sign them once we get to the free agency if we want them.
Yeah. Okay. So we're here. We're at free agency, and so.
Let's start by clicking that arrow over there that says all, and let's start just going by possession. So the first one to consider is running back.
All right, we're at running back, and this is where it gets. Now, this is what you and I would do.
This is what you and I would do.
Kenneth
so
Walker.
I'll start with Kenneth Walker. Is that something you'd entertain?
I'm gonna hit sign and just see what they're looking at. They're looking at $8 million a year. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's it's way too unrealistic.
I said yesterday 18. That's not gonna happen. I didn't mean to say that, and then we got a ton of comments on it. Whatever. Like, I missed one number. It's probably gonna be like in that 12 to 16 range.
I was thinking 13 to
13, 14. Who cares? Like I get everything right when it comes to that. We're not agents, but. So I don't think this is fair yearly 8. So I want to try to make this realistic. It would be 12 to 14. So for me, this is of no consideration.
Yeah.
It would be a devastating decision for me. Brees, I'd be more interested. Not that he got tagged, so it doesn't matter, but I'd be more interested in Brees. But even then, I don't want that. The question is, what kind of play do we want to make at running back if we want to make a play at all?
If we want, I think we could consider making a play, but some of these are just like, I'm not.
Battle's 8.2.
Like, that's too much for me. I think.
So the players that I'm considering making a play on, and I'll see where you're at, are Brian Robinson, a player that you love on tape that I like, Tyler Algier, a player who has fresh legs, but did play behind that wide zone scheme, and maybe in my mind is somewhat benefiting from that wide zone scheme with good blocking. And I don't love that as much as other people. Oh, they hear Tyler Algier. I remember him in fantasy. He always has good numbers. Well, he played in a wide zone scheme with really good blocking and really good coaching. And is he actually that good? I'm not as sold as others.
If I'm going to be honest with you, I think I'd rather look at more pertinent positions and come back to running back.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yes. So, and
we could always draft a running back or.
Yeah. So I want to go. So we did bring Illuminor back. I do want to go to linebacker, and we could start there. Now the Giants might be freaking trading for Tremaine Edmonds at this moment.
In this sim, we're not going with that though, because they wouldn't accept that. So we're just in this sim, we have Kayvon as our edge depth. We have 3 good edges, and we have no linebackers at this moment because we didn't.
So no linebackers. So I'm looking at guys like Caden Ellis, some Leo Chanel, players like that. I mean, Devin Bush played his ass off this past season for the Browns, right? And he's now a few years removed from the devastating injuries he suffered when he was a talented young player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what his market is, so I want to click this and see. 19.3 million a year is wild. Like I'm not going to entertain that, but that's crazy. Like that's a lot of money for.
They have a lot of things messy on this, so we're gonna have to fool with it. Because if you click Devin Lloyd, he's the one who should be at 19.3 if anyone's going to do that. But he's like cheaper than Chanel somehow.
He's at 10.6. Yeah,
that's like not going to happen. And just Devin Lloyd is clearly the best linebacker on the market from a value and young and age standpoint. He'll probably get paid like, don't we think he's going to get paid the most, almost undoubtedly?
I have to imagine.
Or Quay, just based on age.
Maybe we do this. Let's go to defensive line because we need to get strong there. Absolutely. So like I'm big on like trying to bring in like a Calais, like a vet, like a John Franklin Myers, a Calais Campbell. John Franklin Myers, his name is right in front of me. That's 12.1 million a year that we'd be looking at. And with Calais, it's 11. It would be a 1 year, $11 million deal. Do we want to do that for a Calais Campbell at 40 freaking years old? I do think the Giants need this type of like leadership and this type of just veteran savvy. I can execute my run fits. I know where to be. Everybody listens to me. captivate the entire team, and I still have pass rushing upside. That kind of fits what Calais Campbell is.
It does. It's a lot of money. Obviously, he's a veteran player. I was thinking potentially clicking on and looking into DJ Reader because depressed market, coming off injured season, still just 30 years old. Fits the billing of what we really need.
Oh wow!
And I think he'll be a little cheaper. Now, this is probably too cheap, 4.8.
Yeah, so let's bump it up. I was thinking like 8 for DJ Reader, and that might even be a little bit cheap.
Yeah, you could say like I think 8's fine.
Let's do 7. Just split the difference. It's 50% above the market value on this.
Yeah, according to the site, which is not right.
Now he's 30
1-year deal. At let's do like a 2 or 3 year deal with him.
Now he's a little bit older, DJ Reader.
Right, which is why he could be cheaper as well.
Yeah, he's 31. He'll be 32 by the start of the season. And he's had like 2 down seasons. That's with Detroit. He did not have a great.
One was injured season.
Well, he has played over 500 snaps in every season since 2020. So there is like a level of consistency.
Big portion of.
I think he was injured through like training camp, and he ended up playing at a certain part of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So if it's 2 years, 7 million, 14, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, and I would be fine with a deal like that.
Yeah,
is that what we want to do?
Yeah, let's do that. I think he fits what I want.
Okay. I'm cool with bringing in DJ Reader. Boom.
Now, I think we can go with another defensive line signing and really start to get good on this. And there's cheap guys that I'm interested in. You mentioned earlier, like the players that I would consider here because now we're going cheaper. We made our big play, quote unquote. It's really a mid play, but for a player like DJ Reader. Now, players like David Onyemata, who's 34 years old, a little bit older. The kid from Joseph Day, blanking on his name, the kid from the Titans, potentially, who played Sebastian Joseph Day, who played with Denard Wilson, could be an option here. We're looking at like cheaper guys to just add in because we decided earlier, Nick, not to cut Roy Robertson Harris. And I think that's a decision that's interesting that we didn't talk about much because I've seen his name floated by Giants fans online and things like we should cut him. I don't agree with it. His salary is in the 3.3 range. Yeah. I would rather keep him on the roster. I'd rather just keep, if we need defensive linemen, why not have a good, strong rotation there? We don't need to be like relying on like our DJ Davidson types like we did last year.
What about Draymond Jones? See, I think there's several players we can consider here for like the edge defensive line position, right? Like the Jihad Wards, and Draymond Jones is that other name. He played for the Titans and the Ravens last season, and he came off, and I think like a 50 pressure season, if I'm not mistaken. It's not the best run of it. This is more of a system guy, somebody who can really rush the passer, be a power rusher for you, and you can align him on the edge. Now you can already argue that maybe Golston can fill that role, and this would more be a luxury. But I do believe the Giants can add somebody of this archetype, like we mentioned earlier, who can just be depth and can float around the front seven and make plays like that, like similar to what Jihad Ward was last year for Denard Wilson. So
I don't hate the idea, Nick, but I do think for me in this scenario where we already have Kayvon still on the roster and Golston coming back, I'm more interested in just getting another interior defensive lineman like Reader or like, the guys I mentioned. I don't care. Like, right? Like now we have a rotation. We're going to need to put some of those players on the field at times, especially to help stop the run. And we really just don't have. We have Darius Alexander. We're excited about him. We like him as a pass rusher, though, more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Sebastian Joseph Day is
I think that's an interesting one.
There's a few other ones that are a little like not as interesting, I would say, but Sebastian Joseph Day is somebody who I think what did they 4.8? Like, I wonder if you can even get him cheaper at that. Like, what did he sign? What did he sign with last time? Because Sebastian Joseph Day was in a solid rotation down there last year, and he's somebody I talked about over at Big Blue View as well, because he's had a solid career, especially dating back to his time with the Rams last year.
He signed a 1 year 5.6.
5.6. So I say we just give him that. He's more of a run defender than he is a pass rusher, but he has some pass rush utility.
I don't think we'll need it, man. If we have enough pass rushers on this team.
Yeah, I really want it. I really want a fire hydrant, dude. Like that's what I'm looking for. I don't know if he's a fire hydrant, and I'm trying to think of who is.
See if there's anyone else, because we have Reader who can in a lot of ways be that fire hydrant, I think.
Yeah.
But I would take another. I would take Reader and somebody. Like, I don't care. Like
Franklin Myers is looking at
expensive. Yeah,
12. David Onyemata, he's getting up there in age too. 7.4. Calais is at 11. I don't know much about Chris Williams, the defensive tackle from the Bears. Then you have Shelby Harris, another one who's like, our age, dude.
Right.
So, there's not a ton of strong run defending shutdown guys who are available on free agency right now.
Yeah.
And that's where guys like Foley Futakasi, like they've fallen off. Like, he at least fell off when he was with the 2 years, I think it was 2 years he spent with the Texans, but he was a guy, dude, when he was with the Jets, right? He's only 31 years old, but his last 2 years with the Texans and his 2 years in Jacksonville were rough too. And longtime Big Blue Banter listeners know that Nick Filato's a big Foley Fatakasi guy, but I don't think that fits. Derek Nottie, like, I don't know, how has he been over the last I don't 2
know.
seasons or not?
Haven't followed his, but I think he's probably haven't heard much buzz on him.
Yeah.
So I guess it just comes down to, do we want to try to bring in like the Denard Wilson fit with Sebastian Joseph Day, or do we want to pass and just go Reader from the IDL?
I mean, I'm willing to pass for now and then go to look at some of the other positions. Now, do we kick over to offensive line and look at maybe considering some of these guards? You have
the first question, I think, if we kick over to O-line is, do we want to be the team that pays Tyler Linderbaum $21 to $22 million per year?
I don't know. This says 13.2.
Yeah.
I mean,
shows how bad this thing is.
Yeah, exactly.
For that, this thing is all. By the way, let me just say this Stick the Model thing is very cool. Whoever created it,
very
so
cool.
Happy. Thank you for doing it.
Yes.
Obviously, it's tough to get it right. Like, some of these contract projections are just way off, but that's tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're just yanking chains over here, dude. Like, this is amazing. Like, I could never even fathom coming up with something this cool.
Yeah.
So please, take our criticisms or whatever with a grain of salt. But yeah, no, dude.
So let's have the Linderbaum discussion.
I don't really want to, man.
So you don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more open to it than you are, I think, just because I'm just never that closed on anything that brings in a really high quality offensive lineman when they're so rare and they're so hard to hit and they're hard to develop, and they mean everything to me when it comes to winning and losing football games. So much more than wide receivers. So much more. But
let's get creative here with the deal too, though. So it's going to be like 20, right? Well, we'll give him
21, 22. I mean, I'm pretty much out on this, though. Let me just say that, like, before we get creative with this, because we could backload a bunch and we can make this happen for sure. And Tyler Linderbaum probably be good later into his career, so it's like a perfect guy to backload.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like we can get by with John Michael Schmitz for another year.
It is only 1 year, though, right? And then next year is like, what are we doing at center? And we're probably not going to be thrilled about bringing back JMS.
No.
Whereas it's like, oh, we could have had Tyler Linderbaum. That's what keeps me it's like a magnet bringing me back into the conversation of, dude, he is 25 and he is young and he is talented and he is going to upgrade the offensive line, and he does have familiarity, and he will be, I think, a centerpiece to the offensive line for 5 years or however long the Giants do give him this contract with the cap ascending. So is this really a terrible deal? I just think the Giants need a lot, right? Like, I would love to sign, it's nothing against Linderbaum himself. It's just, I just look at that defense and I'm like, oh, is this defense gonna be good enough to really hold up? Like, I'm still more.
We still haven't added linebackers, and there's at least one or two I want to add there. We still haven't added guards. Now that we've cut Runyon, there's two I want to add at guard. We have to add 2 guards. So we have to add 2 guards. We have to add at least 1 linebacker. I would prefer, we added our D lineman already. We might add another. I don't think we'll do anything at edge. We have Kayvon on this scenario. I don't think we're going to take a look later at receiver and tight end for back end guys, and running back. We haven't done that yet. So there's 3 more positions we potentially have to add. And then corner. Even though we re-signed Flott, I wouldn't mind adding some depth at corner either if we have the cap space to do it. So there is a lot to add, and it's kind of a question, Nick, I'll ask you this question. I mean, we could honestly add it all and then really backload a lot of this. But the question I'll ask you is, do you want to sacrifice some of those needs and some of that depth and players that could ultimately be starters for us to get this all-pro type center?
At this point, I'm going to say no.
Okay. So let's pass on Linderbaum for now.
Yeah, we'll pass on Linderbaum. Now, I don't really want to bring in some of these other Baltimore Raven offensive linemen who are kind of just, you're right. And they're just, I'd rather take swings on guys who failed in other places. Not like the Daniel Fialeles. I'm talking about guys who maybe had a lot of higher upside and just didn't really work out for injury reasons. And then maybe try them out at guard if we're not going with Linderbaum, or the veteran route, like a Kevin Zeitler.
or Wyatt Teller, who I think has been linked to the Giants, and I think could be. Now, Wyatt Teller has had a couple down seasons, but it could be a situation where he's been playing hurt. It could be a situation where he's playing next to really bad guys on the offensive line last year.
He's 32. I didn't realize he was that
Yeah.
old. So this is like a 2-year deal. What is he going to be, like 8 million or something?
No. I think you can get him pretty cheap. I think that's the point of Wyatt Teller. Like that 4 or 5 or whatever, I think is probably fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's older.
Let's go with market value. Let's go with market value then. We'll do 4. Yeah, 2 years, 4 million. So 2.8. I think it'd be more than that, but I'm going to make this
even if it's a little more than that, and it might be now. Basically, the decision we made here, Nick, was saving $5 million in cap space to go from Runyon to Wyatt Teller. And to me, that's a decision I'll make pretty much any day of the week. Now, he hasn't started lately at left guard. He started earlier in his career. I think the first 7 games of his round career were left guard. But he can play left guard. He has played it before, and we can decide to play him either left guard or right guard. But stay on guard.
I was thinking more so with right guard.
Well, you might. Well, then let's stay on guard for a second.
Okay.
Because we need 2 guards. We got rid of Runyon, and we haven't re-signed Van Roten yet. The next guy that comes to mind for me that I think is a swing we can make, an upside play. It's a risk, obviously, but there's not much upside plays to be made. It's Elijah Vera Tucker from the Jets. When on the field, he's a dominant player who would significantly help the Giants. He's obviously had a lot of injuries. His price tag, I think, could be even lower than this 13 million guess.
I think so too, but we're not going to be able to sign him here because of this price tag, like 13 million a year, 3 years. Like I was thinking, like this guy's going to need like a prove it almost here.
Well, yeah, I would do the 1 year. Click on the 1 year. So to me, like let's say we can go. You can only go down to like 12.
I was thinking 1 year, like 6, bro.
No, they won't accept this, so we have to pay the price of the site. The question is, are you willing to entertain it at that price?
1 year, 10 million. No, I'd rather go with. I think he's so good though, and I do like Elijah Vera Tucker.
I'm actually willing to go up and pay this personally. I just look at the market and I'm like, yeah, I could sign another Wyatt Teller for 4.4 or like bring back Grant Van Roten or whatnot. Or I could get a potential difference maker. And instead of like paying the 22 million for Linderbaum, I could get a potential difference maker at 12 million or 9 million or 10, whatever it would cost us and whatever they would accept for the 1 year deal.
I'm going to try to offer this 9 million and we'll see.
Try. I don't think we're going to get it through.
Yeah, it's offered. They want 13. And I think it's a little, we're already pretty restricted right now.
We're going to be fine from a cap standpoint because we can backload deals.
Yeah. I do like the idea, man. I do like the idea.
But I don't know if it would actually cost this much, honestly.
I don't think it would. I think this is like the site overvaluing Vera Tucker.
And that's the problem. And that's like, but we haven't really taken that many liberties yet. Like we could have signed some of those other guys.
We should have.
Just for the idea of it. But ultimately speaking, like if this thing tells us we run out of cap space, we could just go with the idea that we knew we could have done it.
Yeah.
Or backload some of these deals. So I say so the question just becomes, do you want to be the team that gambles on Vera Tucker?
I
would too, man. And I know it's like we both said yes to this, and maybe it's a little bit of a risky proposition, but there's so much upside to have him on your line if he stays healthy for this next season for the Giants on a 1 year prove it deal. So we can just give him the 12 and see if he'll accept that. And we can know deep down we'll probably pay a little less here, but a little bit more with some of the other guys.
Yeah, he still wants 13.
Even 12 he didn't like.
Let me try 12 on the dot. I did like 11. I tried to get,
Yeah, go to 12 or whatever. It doesn't make much of a difference because we're not going to.
No, he doesn't.
Just pay. I think for now, maybe pay the 13 since we're not.
I did.
So now we have on our roster, we're happy with what we did at guard. So now let's take a look at David Njoku at tight end.
Yes, David Njoku, and hopefully they'll give us some. Dude, they give us a massive. Yeah, so we're taking this to offset it. He's 30. We give him a. This is crazy. This is crazy cheap. Yeah, 2 year deal. 2.5 million. He's going to cost more than that, but I don't. Yeah,
we've already kind of moved it up with other players, so I think that's fine. And we're overpaying for what Tucker will cost.
All right, I'm 2 years.
Yes.
Rejected. 2.5 million a year. That's exactly. I think he only wants a 1 year deal.
Okay, let's give him that. He wants to prove it as well.
All right.
So now we've added David Njoku. Let's go. We haven't done linebacker. Linebacker is the key of what I wanted to do here. We got to make a play at linebacker. I think for us, we haven't really done much in free agency yet. Nothing big, at least. This is where something big happens, regardless if we trade for one or not. Maybe it's a little different if we do. The question for me comes down to this: Leo Chenal, Devin Lloyd, or potentially Devin Bush or Quay Walker. It's really one of those 4 for me. We can make a big play here. Nakobe Dean's also of mine. I want to take Leo Chenal. I really do. I want to make up for the wrong. Obviously, those who listen to this podcast dating back to the 2020 draft know that I pounded the table for Leo Chenal. I thought he should have been the pick over Zudu at 67. He lasted another 30 picks to the Chiefs. He's been unbelievable with the Chiefs. He just hasn't played a lot because they're so deep at linebacker. Now's the chance to get him, having not played a lot, not a lot of wear and tear on his body, 25 years old. And I think a perfect fit for what the Giants need from a run defense standpoint at the second level, especially if they do trade for Tremaine Edmunds. I think that really works out well, Edmunds and Chenal. Or if they don't trade for Tremaine Edmunds and you just have Chenal in there, you have the option to take a Siles, or you have an option to take an Anthony Hill Jr. or some of these like athletic linebackers in this draft class. And it's a perfect fit next to Chenal. In my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. He's 25 years old, right? 25 years, 6'3", 250. 6'3", 250. He was not a complete stiff, right?
No, not at all. He was a 9.9 relative athletic score.
Exactly.
The only guy close to him was Sonny Styles.
And this is something where I think we give him a 4-year deal. They want $11 million, which I feel like that's a little. I don't know if he's. Yeah, I guess he'll probably get that. But we backload it and we say we get about $5.6 million on the cap after the signing. So we'll do that 4 years. And make the offer, and he accepted. So now we're at $5.6 million in cap space, and we've made some big signings here. All right, and we'll go over that here in a little bit. But I don't know if we can entertain anything else at this point.
We could potentially if we backload stuff. So let's first running back. Let's try. So the cheaper. Let's see what Brian Robinson wants.
Brian Robinson was cheap.
Yeah. The question. So then we're going cheap here, Nick. The question becomes: there are options to go cheap. Are Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, Rashad White, and Kenneth Gainwell. Those are our options if we want to go cheap and add depth at running back.
I think Brian Robinson backloaded. I mean, and then it's a 3 it's 2 years, $3.5 million. I think you can get cheaper, but I mean, I'll try 3. Make the he offered, save a little bit there. So now we got Brian Robinson.
Now we feel good about that. And Brian Robinson's a player that you loved coming out. And I've watched a lot of Brian Robinson tape for Beyond the Box Score. He's an underrated football player at the NFL level. Like I genuinely think Brian Robinson could do bigger things than people realize on the Giants. And not only just in a run game, like when given opportunities, he's been good in the pass game as well. So I really like that signing. To me, he's the best value free agent at running back, besides potentially Dowdle, but Dowdle's just going to cost too much. So it's just pure value wise. I like the idea of buying Robinson.
All right, we're going to go to the draft now. All right.
Let's just see, because we still have a little bit of cap space and we can maybe backload. I just want to see, we didn't add that second D lineman, which I guess we'll have to potentially do in the draft. Corner, we added Flott. I guess we don't really have the cap space at this point to do anything else. Now, just remember, though, for those listening, we did pay more than market value at a couple of these spots. Elijah Vera Tucker, for example, was a big one. And we decided not to restructure Adebo. So if the Giants want to get even more creative with this and even more aggressive, they can do so. Restructuring Adebo, paying a little bit less for maybe one of those guys. And we could have added potentially some depth at corner and some more depth at D-line.
Yeah, absolutely. But since, we're a little restricted by the parameters of this beautiful tool that we have here, I'm going to say we go to the draft and we'll sit there. So full draft speed is going to be.
Well, the question is, you want to do full or just round 1?
I'm probably just round 1. I don't know if I can.
Yes, I think quick draft. If you click that, I think it's just round 1.
Or standard draft. Let's do the first 3 rounds. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, screw it. Right on. Very fast. Start. Okay.
That start button there in the middle, I think.
Yeah, where would that be at?
Scroll down in the middle of that middle tab.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right, so we're sitting here at 5. Fernando Mendoza, Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, and David Bailey all off the board. So we can sit here after adding. We can sit here and we can get really anybody we really want. I mean, Bain's off the board, but Downs is here. Tate.
They went 3 pass rushers. We were never going to go. This is actually like. If we can guarantee this could happen right now for the Giants, this is the perfect first round before the Giants pick. It's a quarterback and 3 edges, the position the Giants are not going to be diving into.
Can we trade down? No.
Let's look into that first. I don't know if this thing has that.
I'm looking to see trade right here. We have 2 people wanting to trade up. So this is where it gets interesting. Washington would trade down to 7. They're going to give us 71. I don't know why, but I'm cool with that. Or we could trade with Detroit and get a future and 17. I say we just take this Washington deal.
Yeah, let's take that Washington.
And they're offering it, right?
Who they want to come up for.
They got Jeremiah Love.
I think that's probably the only player that anybody would trade up for.
We're gonna be people are gonna be so mad at us, like we have to play Jeremiah Love now twice a year, but no, screw it. We're getting picks, baby.
We played Barkley twice a year, and he did nothing in one of those games. Like
facts.
Like Barkley sucked last year because their O-line fell apart. Did anyone realize that?
Yeah, we can trade again if we want to, and we can drop back at 13 and then pick up 61 from the Rams, get 9 for the Chiefs, get 74, and then future picks from the Bears and the Detroit. Now, do we want to do that, or do we
consider as the 9? Let's look at the board first before we do this, if they allow that. All right, so
so it's like we're getting a little risky, but I think we might be able to still get Sonny Styles. I want to do it just for the conversation.
If we can't get Styles, who else could we get?
If we can't get Styles,
I don't want to do anything.
Downs is still around too.
Downs is still around.
And so we're both the right tackle. So a lot of the guys we always entertain as people that we're interested in are still on the board, dude. So like
the way that we frame this though, and again, you're right though, because like we have left ourselves in a position here, which I like, where we can still add another inside linebacker. So we only added Chanel. We let McFadden go. We let all those. He was asking for too much. But Styles isn't the only inside linebacker I like in this class. Yeah, so I think the risk is worth taking.
Either way, I think absolutely. Yeah. I'm taking the trade with the Chiefs.
We take the extra pick with the Chiefs and see what happens here.
Styles
is still on the board.
I say we just take Styles right now.
At this point, no. Well, the question becomes: would you prefer Caleb Downs or Styles?
I'm gonna look at the trades actually. So a lot of people are just trying to trade futures. We're not gonna do that. Well, actually, no. We can trade down one spot. We could trade down one spot with the Bengals are offering us some shit. This is fun. The Bengals are offering us this, and they're gonna give us 72. Fuck it, right?
Not that I mean, you would have to do this from a value standpoint, but I don't want to do this really because I don't want to lose out.
Cheating. We're just cheating.
It's a little bit cheating. We've done it already. We've already gotten 2 free picks.
I'm taking Sonny Styles.
I think we just so you would take Styles over Downs then at this point.
Yes, I think so.
Me too as well. And I've been that way for a while. So now we got Sonny Styles. Caleb Downs goes right after him. I guess we are going to play this a little bit longer then.
Yeah, man. 37.
All right. So we have our inside backer.
We have the inside backer.
Here's what I want to start by looking at. What's on the board at wide receiver? Let's start. Or you're just going to all?
Wide receiver, Zachariah Branch, Chris Brazel,
second, maybe.
Chris Bell, Elijah Surratt, Malachi
I
Fields.
like as a value play, but it's a little early.
It is.
Do they have Lance in that?
Lee Hunter still around, Texas Tech defensive lineman.
That's going to be tough to pass on.
Yeah. And then Tyneman is still around too.
We never added a second.
Dylan Tyneman as well.
Probably won't be around after that combine, but is here. Let's see at offensive line, at tackle and guard. What do we have left? There are some guys.
Jennings Dunker is still around. Yes.
Move the guard.
Caleb Tiernan, Drew Shelton, Isaiah World, and Austin Barber are some of the top ones.
Okay.
Running back, Jadarian Price is still around.
No. I'm not considering that at all there.
I know.
Already added Brian Robinson. I've done enough there. I mean, look, I'll take one on day 3 if he's value, but this is not a great class. So I think for me, like here as we sit, it comes down to Lee Hunter or Jennings Dunker for me here.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Lee Hunter.
I think I'm going with Lee Hunter too. I just like him a lot.
Yes, so we're gonna go with Lee Hunter at 37
and DJ Reader.
Yes, and like this is playing out.
Some lineups. We can have some personnel groupings with Lee Hunter, DJ Reader, and Dexter Lawrence on the field. If we can't stop the run with those 3, I don't know what and with Janelle behind them and Sonny Styles behind them. I don't know what we need to do to stop the run.
All right, this is where it gets interesting. We got 2 picks, and we're just gonna round it off. So we're doing the first 3 rounds. So
we'll just do these
71 and 74. And there are some wide receivers who are still around that are interesting. Both Jacoby Lane and Deion Burks are around.
I like Lane. Burks, I think, is not playing for this new offense. Not a good role. Go back to receiver. There's other guys I like there. I want to talk about. Lane is a big size speed freak with a lot of upside that I like. Brennan Thompson is a smaller player. We talked about him yesterday, or on the combine show, but ran a 4.26, and some people think he might be that Tyreek Hill type find. Skylar Bell is interesting to me, had a really good combine as well. People like him as well. And then Ted Hurst is like that size speed freak that you could be. There are a lot of just projects here at wide receiver. Lane would probably be the one that stands out the most to me.
Lane is. I'm trying to think. Like they were at USC together, right? Him and Dart. I got to imagine, or did Jacoby Lane transfer in there? Sure. I'm gonna look that up because I don't know if
all the transferring. I'm not sure.
It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to keep track of the transferring.
Yeah, while you're doing that, click on tight end. I'm just curious what's left on the board there. Like if Stowers is still on the board, I
Yeah, he is.
He really shouldn't be.
Eli
Feels a little bit
Stowers.
like cheating to get Eli Stowers, but I'm intrigued by it. I mean, we did re-sign, or we did sign Njoku, but that's a short-term deal. Stowers and some kind of like 12 personnel package. Stowers and Theo Johnson, Stowers and Njoku. That's intriguing. I don't think we necessarily have to go there.
I don't think they were at USC together, but that's regardless. But it doesn't matter.
We got to go to corner and offensive line. We missed corner last pick at 37. There might have been some interesting guys, which sucks that I forgot about. But Lee Under would still probably be our pick.
Yeah.
I can't.
Will Lee the third is still around from Texas A&M. Keontae Scott from Miami. Davison Igbinosun and Malik Mohammed and Devin Moore from Florida also around. I do like Will Lee the third.
Okay.
I do think his skill set does fit with Denard Wilson is attempting to do. What was the other position group you wanted to check out?
Yeah, a lot of the guys I want at corner are probably more off the board in that 37 to 74 range. The other positions are OT and Ogar and interior.
Yeah. Offensive tackle, it's Austin Barber from Florida still around, Isaiah World from Oregon, and JC Davis from Illinois. Jalen Farmer from Kentucky is still around.
Oh, Farmer, I think, is an interior guy, and I really like Farmer.
Yeah, and as for more interior. Logan Jones is still around.
Rutledge is still there. I like Rutledge a lot.
Logan Jones is interesting.
I like Logan Jones too.
Because now, do we want to do that? Well, we only have 2 more picks left, but like we did not take Linderbaum. John Michael Schmitz, don't know if he's going to be here all that long. So this could be that, like, it'd be awkward in the locker room because JMS can be like, well, I'm not going to be on this fucking team next year. But like that, like, he's a solid player though. Like watching Iowa's offensive line, you watch Logan Jones and James.
I feel like he's a better prospect than JMS ever was. He blew up the combine from athleticism standpoint, something JMS never did. It's funny though that he'd still be on the board here, and I think he'd go even farther. I from what I've seen so far, I want you to just read off the rest of the guards. From what I see so far, my lean is either Rutledge or Farmer.
Okay.
Who else is at guard there? Maybe it's just
guard Billy Schroeth,
Notre Dame kid. I haven't watched a lot of him.
I do like Rutledge.
I like Rutledge a lot.
I like Bo Farmer Stevens from Iowa.
I don't know why they have him at tackle.
Fernando Carmona Jr. from Arkansas. A lot of centers around, but I think I'm leaning towards Kalen Rutledge as well.
Have you seen Farmer at all?
No.
They haven't listed at tackle for some reason.
But he's going to play. But he's going to be, now I've seen, like, I'm familiar with him, but
I really like I've seen some cut ups of him that he just looks explosive. And he also, both him and Rutledge had amazing combines. So I think for me, it would be Farmer or Rutledge here.
Okay. So we're just pouring into the offensive, and this is somebody with,
we haven't done O-line yet in this draft.
All right, let's go with Jalen Farmer then. Okay.
Yeah, or you could do Rutledge. It's your call. I like Rutledge a lot too. And
I'm going to go Farmer, and now we're at 74. And this is Jacoby Lane is still.
Lawrence was on the board. He's going to be. I like him so much. The process. We didn't need him, but that's such a Bengals pick too. I could totally see that happening. Came right after Farmer. Yeah, I really like Malachi Lawrence upside. Now I would honestly, where I would lean here, Nick, is going back to the well. Online. This is how you do it, man. You just start to use these mid-round picks, these day 2 picks on your line. That's how you start to rebuild and become like an Eagles type team. So for me, where I mean, Jacoby Lane's still here. That's interesting. I know people want receiver bad. I get it to an extent, but if I could, like, even Logan Jones here, right? Like, if I could get 2 guys that are my future on the interior here, we have Vera Tucker signed for a short-term deal. We're not going to go back there. We have Wyatt Teller on a short-term deal. There's no future there. So we really don't have any plan at interior offensive line outside of Farmer, who we drafted so far. We could do it next draft. That's fine.
This is very John Harbaugh-esque, I think, to go in this direction to double up on the offensive line. And we're getting some physical dudes as well, like, up on the offensive line, right? So I'm not opposed to going Logan Jones
or Rutledge.
Both
are on the table. Like, you could try to fix center, or you could maybe hope that JMS has another gear to get to and then not draft over him in some extent. Or you could, but either way, like, you probably need a long-term center and you probably need another long-term guard.
I'm doing Kalen Rutledge, dude.
Yeah, because we like Rutledge's tape. So now we have 2 chances, and maybe only one works out, because that's how the NFL goes. These draft is a total crapshoot. But even if one works out and we have a future guard on this roster now, it makes me feel so much better. Because if you really look at it, dude, we resigned Jermaine Illuminor. That's a short-term move. We signed Elijah Vera Tucker. That's a short-term move. We signed Teller. That's a short-term move. And we don't know about Schmitz. Outside of Thomas, we don't really have a long-term plan anywhere on the line. Now we gave ourselves an opportunity to take 2 shots on the line. And if one hits, great. If 2 hit, amazing. But even if just one hits at the 2, and I think one of those definitely will hit, That's just how I feel about them as prospects. I think we did something great.
Yeah, I think we had a good time here. This was fun. We got a nice little B-. You know, I like it. This
don't care about the grade whatsoever. I want you to go back in there real quick if you haven't exited out, because it shows you our depth chart at the end of it. You can see that. I want to go over that real quick to end the show. So I think up top on that blue after the check mark. Okay, you can see it this way too. Yeah. So let's take a look at our depth chart.
I already looked at it. It's not good. Like not a reflection of us per se, but like they have like Jake Kubis as the starter and Thomas.
We don't care about that.
Njoku and stuff like that. But no, like you could see Wyatt Teller, Elijah Vera Tucker getting added to the offensive line with David Njoku.
And Farmer and Rutledge.
That's through the draft. Yeah. And then Leo Chanel, as well as the linebacker in free agency with Sonny Styles and Lee Hunter to help bolster the defense. And that doesn't include all the people that we re-signed in Jermaine Illuminor and Cordell Flott.
Yeah. So I think looking at this as a whole at our offseason that we did here, I feel very good about what we did to build our defense. I think you can win. Like, I don't worry as much about the back end when your front end is so good. And I think we've completely revamped and changed our entire run defense here, getting DJ Reader, Lee Hunter, Sonny Styles, and Leo Chanel on that defense. I mean, I don't know how much more you can do to help your run defense. And I feel great about that. We have the pass rush already. We got Flop back. We have our safeties that just have to play better. So I feel great about that. We've added to our run game by adding those offensive linemen. We have young offensive line that can help later. We have an upside play with Elijah Vera Tucker. We brought back Jermaine Illuminor. We added David Njoku and Brian Robinson, some depth signings we feel better about than most people do. Where we're still weak, where we weren't able to do it all, wide receiver. We've left a really, really gaping big hole at wide receiver.
Yeah,
we have Neighbors, we have Slayton, we have Gunner who comes back, and that's it. So what we would do is, in this scenario, I think we do an extra restructure, which we didn't have time to do, and add a DeAndre Hopkins to this mix. You know, somebody I believe in, honestly, still has good football left, makes great plays at the catch point, and is basically what's his name offered, the guy we let go to the Broncos, Lil Jordan Humphrey, but a much better version of that. On the outside. And we're going to be playing a lot of 12 personnel anyway. We might add Patrick Ricard as well, so restructure, do something like that, you know, or add Bredesen late in the draft, Max Bredesen from Michigan. Now we're going to be playing some 21 personnel too. So we don't really need a million receivers if we're playing heavier personnel. We need a big slot that we don't have on this roster. That
did bring Chris Manhurst back too.
Yeah. We did bring Chris Manhurst back too. So it's not a perfect offseason by any means. We're left a little bit, weak at the skill positions. I just don't necessarily believe that leads to bad teams, man. We were the best we've ever been in EPA on offense without any receivers last year. How do you go figure that?
Yeah, and we could have easily went with one of those wide receivers at 71 or 74 too.
Yeah.
I think the sheer fact that we got 71 and 74, that's
a
blessing. That's a blessing though, right? Like getting like it makes just seeing the names that were on the board there. I'm like, dude, if the Giants, if somebody wants love and they need to take it, dude, take it. Because Downs are, I don't know about style, but Downs, he might fall. That's a good consolation prize if you want to consider it that. All right.
Yeah. So I'm really happy with the way this offseason goes. This would be as good as it gets for me. Let's see if the Giants can do some of it or any of it or all of it. Thanks again for listening to the Big Blue Banter podcast. Really appreciate your support. If you want to help us grow, hit the like button. Please leave a comment after the show, during the show, whenever you can, to help juice us off the algorithm as well. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.